Jason Goble is a singer and songwriter whose musical journey has taken him from the hills of eastern Kentucky to Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, where he performs regularly at Johnny Cash's Bar and Barbecue and other venues around the city. His heartfelt performances resonate with audiences, making him a rising star in the country music world. Welcome Jason Goble to the show. Jason, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you coming to visit us today.
I appreciate you having me.
So, you are from a tiny town in eastern Kentucky called Prestonsburg.
Yes.
I know exactly where that's at because I'm from Matewan, West Virginia.
Oh, you're very close.
Yeah, very
Yep.
close. So, I'll tell you what I know about Prestonsburg. There's a Harley shop over there I've gone to before, and so I went somewhere once and got a really good chocolate dipped cone. I don't know, that was years
It's
ago.
probably Dairy Cheer, I would
Maybe,
say. Yep.
yeah, that sounds familiar. So, yeah, that's about all I know of Prestonsburg. I know where it's at. Is that where the Mountain Art Center is too?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I actually grew up right across the creek from where the Mountain Arts Center is.
Wow.
Yep, right in the shadow of that place.
Oh, wow. See, that that was good. It gave you something to look at and think about.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
As an inspiration.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you were born and raised there then.
Yeah, I was born in Pikeville, but raised in Prestonsburg, Kentucky, and lived there for a long, long time, and just over the last about 5 years ago moved to Nashville.
Yeah. You guys have a lot of big singers on that highway 23 that's called
Yeah,
Music Highway.
The Country Music Highway.
Yeah, so you have Dwight Yoakam.
Dwight Yoakam.
Who were some other ones?
Loretta Lynn, that was one of obviously the biggest
Yeah.
ones. Of course, Crystal Gale, Ricky Skaggs, Tom T. Hall, Patty Lovelace, Pike
Yeah. Oh,
County.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so many. Keith Whitley, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Loretta Lynn's house, is that in Prestonsburg or I've been
That's
there.
in Paintsville.
Paintsville, okay.
Yeah, Butcher Holler, yep.
Yeah, let me tell you something. My cousin took me up there years ago. I didn't think we was ever going to get to it. It's like I could not take you back. If somebody said I'll give you $1 million, take me back, I couldn't find it because it's really hard to find.
It's in the middle of nowhere. I've
Yeah.
performed at the general store there,
Oh,
right? The
wow.
mouth of where that is a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an amazing little place. It was like kind of like here, Dolly Parton's house is way back on Locust Ridge, and it's hard to find too for people, especially I guess people that don't live here. But it was amazing to actually go there and see that little house and know that Loretta Lynn grew up there. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I liked being able to have access to it. Like Dolly's house is behind this big wooden fence, and it sits way back in the field, and you have to look through a little crack in the fence, and you could see it way back there. But Loretta Lynn's house is accessible.
Oh, no, you can walk right in.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really nice. So, but so as you said, you left there and went to Nashville. How long have you been in Nashville?
I've been in Nashville for just over 5 years now.
Oh, so fairly new.
Oh yeah. Still, it feels like it's strange. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, really.
Yeah.
But in the same way, you learn a lot in a short time. So
Yeah. So, what kind of a culture shock was it to go from little
Oh, my
tiny
goodness.
Prestonsburg to Music City, USA?
Oh my goodness! Well, so I live about 20 minutes south, so I have to drive that traffic every day, and that was the first big thing was driving down 65 to work every day, and then being in the middle of this machine that is Nashville is so different. It's still I still have those kind of pinch me moments where you realize you look around and you're like, I feel like I am so out of place sometimes. Once in a while I've grown more used to it, but
Yeah. After 5 years, you might as well say you're a local.
yeah, at this point I'd say I guess I am.
Yeah, yeah, you're a local.
It's strange to think that way.
Do you ever see anybody who's been an inspiration to you? Do you ever run into any country music stars?
It more frequently I do end up on stage with a lot. I've got people that have played with some of the larger artists and things like that, because a lot of the musicians, when they're not on the road, or maybe the artist they played with doesn't tour anymore, they're playing in some of the same places I play. And
Yeah.
so a lot of times bands down there are kind of funny. They're kind of put together on the spot for a shift, and we go in, and so I'll end up playing with Wynonna's bass player or somebody like that you don't know until afterward who they played with. Yeah.
Wow, that's something. I'd be like, can you get me in to see Winona? I love her. I've always loved her ever since high school. I remember when her and her mom came out, I was like in high school, and I just fell in love with them. Wow. I would love, like, Nashville's too busy for me. Like you said, that traffic, oh my gosh. It's scary just driving through, like, that main part of town. You look over and it's just like, I don't know. I try to stay away from that place.
The parking garages took some getting used to.
Yeah, oh gosh. But I think I would love to live there if I didn't have to fight the traffic, because I'm not
Yeah.
good in a car, So who was Who was one of your biggest inspiration? I mean, you were surrounded. We've already talked about that. But
Yeah.
who was one of your biggest inspirations growing up?
My grandfather is always the first one that comes to mind. He was a fiddle player, and he was interesting in that he lost his hand in an accident, so he was a one-handed fiddle player. He would strap the fiddle bow to his arm and play fiddle. And so I kind of grew up around that, and you can never say it's too hard to learn when you've got somebody with one hand
Absolutely.
that's able to do what he could do. And so I always kind of go to him first. And then outside of that, I had my dad liked old school country music, and my mom liked more classic rock.
Oh, yeah.
And so I got a lot of influence from everything, kind of.
Yeah, I was going to say I can tell in your music that it's really a combination of all kinds.
It is kind of a mishmash.
Yeah. So, what age were you when you realized that number one, you could play music and you could sing and you could write, because you're a songwriter as well as a
Yes.
singer. What age were you when you realized you had this gift and this talent?
It was so strange because I had family members. It was one of those musical family things that played, and I was kind of the last one to pick it up. And so it was kind of a surprise, but I think I was probably about 15 and playing with some friends of mine, and we all kind of started playing about the same time, and I was the only one that stuck. And for whatever reason, I think that was kind of the moment it kind of bit me,
Yeah.
that this is what I like to do.
So your whole family played though, right? I
Yeah.
mean, everybody in it. Did you feel pressured to be a musician since everybody else was?
No, not at all, actually. It was one of those things I was around and wanted to do, but really the focus was more on some of the other folks that play bluegrass and that kind of thing in the family. And so I kind of snuck in. I kind of started doing it and surprisingly got good at it, and never actually intended to sing, intended to be a guitarist. And then discovered I could sing purely out of necessity because I could never find a singer for bands.
Oh, wow. Well, that's good. You know what? I'm always amazed at people like you who are multi-talented. You don't just play the guitar. You don't just sing. You do it all. You write, you sing, you play. You can be your own, like you don't have to depend on anybody else. You don't have to say, well, I got to find a guitarist to come and perform. You can do it for yourself.
I still do some though. It's kind of fun though. It does give me the advantage to kind of now when I play is I can hire people that kind of fill out what I want.
We had a singing competition recently. I don't know if you saw that, Tennessee's Next Country Star.
I did
My
see that,
yeah, my
yes.
show hosted that, and we had a couple people who lost their guitarist at the day before they were coming here,
Oh,
and they
wow.
had to scramble to find people, and I think that would be really hard. If you can do it for yourself, do it for yourself.
It definitely is a benefit.
Yeah. So in your songwriting, where do you find your inspiration to write your songs?
It's kind of a funny thing. Sometimes they feel like they write themselves. They almost feel like you kind of discover it, and I don't. It can come from any one spot. I don't. I wish I could say I had sort of a process. It'd probably be easier if I did in a way. But most of the time, it's I see something and I have to write it. Or something occurs to me and I have to write it.
Yeah. I interviewed another singer, and she's the same way. She said, well, I'll tell you who it was. It was Jada Starr, Dolly Parton's niece.
Yes.
And when I interviewed her back in, I think, September, she said she's the same way. When she feels something, it just comes out. She just writes it, and that's what she does. So
You almost don't have a choice, I think, at a certain point. You're kind of going to blow up if you don't.
yeah, no, yeah, I think so too. I'm a writer. I write books, and so if I have something in me, and like even last night, I was like, I have the story that I'm gonna start writing soon. It's really hard for me. I mean, I've got 8 books out, but I haven't had a chance to write in the last couple of years, but I thought, I've got to get this story out because it's up there, and I thought, I've got to start writing. So
Yeah.
even today, I put a reminder on my phone for tonight at 9 o'clock, go home and start on my book. I don't know how far I'll get, but
I do the same thing. I have a lot of notes in my phone, just
Yeah.
like lines and lyrics and ideas.
yeah. And then once you sit down, the song starts to form around it.
Yeah,
So
a lot of times you find that you've kind of written almost part of something without knowing it, just by writing down what you're thinking at the time. You go back and reread it later and go, hey, that's already a start,
What's your favorite song that you've ever written?
Probably Spinning My Wheels. I wrote this one, God, it's been a long time now, but it's one of those, it was the first one that really felt to me complete in a sense that I captured what I was going for.
Yeah.
And it's very easy as a songwriter to get caught into a pattern. And I was trying to break out of a pattern. And that was the song that broke me out of it.
Yeah. Well,
So-
good, yeah. So what message, or do you have a message that you try to convey to your fans when you sing? I mean, or do you just write whatever you feel like writing?
You know, it's an interesting thing. I write a lot of times, of course, sometimes it's personal experience, sometimes it's more of a third person, something I witness. But I kind of try to refrain from being too specific in when I explain what I write to some degree, because I think sometimes songs, I know a lot of songs I love, I'll interpret them the way I interpret them, and then I'll find out later that that's not exactly how they were written. But it's kind of nice, I think, for it to be open a little more for people,
Yeah.
because I think when you write it and you put it out, it's kind of not yours anymore.
Yeah, that's true. And I love that you said that because let's say, for example, you wrote a song with one meaning, it might mean something else to me, but I'm still feeling it the way that you want it to be felt by a fan.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's just different for everybody. Like, for example, I can't think of a song right off the top of my head, but say, okay, Lauren Daigle, the Christian singer, you know, she can sing a song about God, but you can also use it in a wedding as well.
Yes.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I forget what the name of it is, but I don't think she even says the name God in it, but like, I forget what it is. But anyway, I'm like, that would make a beautiful wedding song.
Right.
So just however people want to interpret something, they can. And that's the great thing about art. Art is the same way.
Absolutely.
Two people can look at the same picture and it can mean something totally different to them. So,
Absolutely.
so in 2014, you won the Country Music Highway Road to Fame Award.
Yeah. It was a contest they had. That was the third year they'd had it. I'd entered the first year and made to the top 12. I skipped the second year and came back the third year.
Oh, good. So,
Yeah.
how does winning awards like that, what does that do for you? Does it boost your confidence, or is it just like, well, I just won an award?
You know, in that case, it is a boost in confidence, and it was a lot of the experience of being able to get on a bigger stage in front of a good sized crowd. And then with that, I got some opportunities to come to Nashville and before I moved and kind of get a feel for things, do some co-writing sessions with people, which was where I'm from. Most of the time you write by yourself because there's not a lot of co-writing and not a lot of that sort of thing that happens. And so one of the things in Nashville is you write with other people. So it gave me a chance to kind of come down and get some guidance in that area.
Does it give you a boost of confidence, though, to say, like, hey, there's other people who do recognize my gift?
It does. It always does, because I think you always question yourself to some degree. You always wonder.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is always nice to get that kind of affirmation.
It is. It is. You know, even doing this show, listen, I mean, I enjoy it. And I just told Adam before you got here, we were talking about some things, and I said, you know, I love doing the show, and if nobody watched, I would still want to do the show. But having people say, you're really good at it, or you're a natural, that does feel good, you know. Or having
Absolutely.
people say, I enjoyed your show today, that feels good. So,
Yes.
yeah. So anyway, I've asked you to sing for us today. What are
Sure.
you going to sing?
I'm going to sing "Spinning My Wheels," the one I was talking about.
I'm going to move out of the way and let you just take over. How's that?
All right, sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. I get up, hit the shower, and stare at the clock for an hour. Go to work, go to the bar, and I go home. Lie in bed, watch TV, close my eyes, and try to sleep, so I can dream of the day I break out of this routine. 'Cause you left me running in place, too much time, too little space. You know my foot's on the gas and I'm still standing still. Yeah, you're gone like the wind and I'm still spinning my wheels. Weekends come, weekends go, same old song, rerun show. I've been caught in a loop since you said goodbye. Still a blur, what went wrong? Just shift gears, try to move on, but I ain't moved an inch since you slammed on the brakes. 'Cause you left me running in place, too much time, too little space. You know my foot's on the gas and I'm still standing still. Yeah, you're gone like the wind and I'm still spinning my wheels. You took away all my traction, lost control, chain reaction. and I'll hit the wall before I catch you. Running first and setting the pace, out of gas and dead last place. I'll blow up 4 times before I'm through, 'cause you left me running in place. Too much time, too little space. You know my foot's on the gas and I'm still standing still. Yeah, you're gone like the wind and I'm still spinning my wheels. Yeah, you're gone, 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 I'm still spinning my wheels.
Thank you so much for singing that. I love that. It was
Thank
really
you.
catchy. I was over there dancing. I don't know if you saw me. My knees were like doing as much as a 55-year-old's knees could do. It was really catchy. And you wrote that yourself,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Wow, that's really great. Listen, I wish I could do stuff like that. It's easy to write a story, but it's very hard to write a song because you got to have that. I don't know. There's just something hard about writing songs. You got to have that tempo and then I don't
You have
know.
to tell this whole story in 3.5 or 4 minutes, which is
Yeah.
tough sometimes.
It's tough, yeah. So I just asked your wife, what do your friends and family think about you leaving that tiny town and going all the way to Nashville? I mean,
You know, I think obviously they were worried about me, but very supportive, very supportive. They were nervous about it, obviously. I mean, being that far from home,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's close enough that they still get to see me, and so they're very supportive.
yeah, it's something to be proud of too.
Yeah.
I mean, you're living your dream.
Yeah,
And
I think they see that.
And that's what matters in life. I mean, I interview so many people and I ask them a question. And I'm like, what are you doing this for? And everybody says it's not for the fame. It's just to be able to tell my stories, sing my songs, play my music, and make people happy.
Yeah.
And I think that is the complete definition of success. So, because I don't think you see so many people who do make it to the top and they're not happy. They end up on drugs, and then done. I mean, it's not that level of success is not what it's cracked up to be.
No, you
So,
see, that's one of the things I think Nashville has opened my eyes up a lot. Though being that close to the industry and seeing all the other jobs people do, all the other things you can
Yeah.
do, the levels of success
Yeah.
that there are other things, ways of making a living doing what you love. Yeah.
And that is success, doing what you love, being happy doing it. So, one last question: who is the one person, the one artist that you would love to collaborate with?
Wow, that is such a tough question.
I always have to hit people with a hard question
One
at the end.
artist I could collaborate with. I tell you, there's a songwriter named Daryl Scott I like a whole lot. He wrote some well-known songs, You'll Never Leave Harlan Alive, some songs like that I really just love his writing style and his solo style. He would be somebody I would love to write with.
Oh, well, that's good. I thought you were going to say somebody like somebody big like Kenny Chesney or somebody like that.
I
So-
love that kind of thing, but to me, it's I think another thing of being in Nashville is that you're so close to everybody and kind of knows everybody sort of thing, is it demystifies a lot of that.
Yeah.
So rather than see it that way, to me, it's what art moves me the most, I
Yeah.
think. And his art moves me a lot.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So what's next for you?
Right now I play 5-6 days a week at a couple places on Broadway, Nudie's Honky Tonk and Johnny Cash's. I play there. I'm down there 5 days a week at least. And so I'm doing that right now. I'm trying to write some new things and try to record something. I'm hoping to try to get something new out the end of the year.
Oh,
That's
good.
what I'm hoping.
Yeah, you know what? You're going to make it happen
thank you.
because you have that drive. Listen, if you can leave a tiny, and I keep calling it a tiny town. Prestonsburg is little. I think I did look at the population because I knew it was little, and I think in 2022 there was like 3,700 people.
Yeah.
It's very little compared to Nashville. So
Oh, yeah.
if you had the guts to leave your hometown and go to Nashville 5 years ago, you're going to make it. So
Thank you so much.
So thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed this, and I wish you just all the success that you dream of. So
Thank you Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad that your friend got in contact with me and said, "Hey, have this guy on." That was
Absolutely.
several months ago too, so it's taken this long to get you here. So yeah, but we will put all of your social media links on the screen at the end of the show. So if people want to get in touch with you, or if they want to, listen to your music and stuff like that, they can. So thank you guys for joining me today. I know you've enjoyed listening to Jason just as much as I have. That song really got me moving over there. I wish you guys could have seen me. No, I don't. But tune in again next week for another exciting episode. And remember to always dream big, because big dreams do come true.